Welcome back, everyone. The iPhone XS and iPhone 12 mini have been out for a little bit of time now, so let's go and see how both these phones compare in 2022. Now, if you want to buy either one of these phones or phones like this, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, as I've always mentioned, you can definitely see the iPhone XS is a little bit of a bigger phone. The iPhone XS on the front has a 5.8-inch Super Retina OLED display, and in my opinion, it's a pretty good panel. I think this one I have is an aftermarket display, but it still looks pretty good. The one weird thing is I think I have a hardware defect. I can't get into the control center, but this is still a very good display. I think even with an iPhone 10 display, it still looks very, very good, and this one still holds up very well. You still have the notch, you still have a little bit of bezel around it, but still, I mean, the iPhone 13s pretty much have the same type of design, so I think this phone still looks pretty good in this day and age. Now with the iPhone 12 mini, on the other hand, we have a little bit of a smaller 5.4-inch panel, so it's still a Super Retina XDR OLED panel, and this one looks very, very good as well. Personally, like I mentioned before, I feel like the 12s, the 13s, they all have really good displays, but I think the 13 Pros right now are the best panels you can buy in terms of an iPhone, and it probably makes more sense to look at those ones and compare those ones. But between these two, both of them look really good, and I don't really have too much to complain about when it comes down to these two devices. Now, in terms of thinness and thickness between these two, both are very good. I think the iPhone 12 mini is a little bit thinner, but the XS does have a curved side versus the flat side on the 12 mini, so it may feel like a little bit that the 12 mini is a little bit thicker, but I think the XS is actually the thinner one for sure. And then you can go ahead and see on the back, we have glass backs on both, pretty much the same thing. I do have a skin on this specific one. I need a skin on my 12 mini because that one is severely just cracked. But when I look at both these models, the iPhone 12 mini does have the better sensor for sure. Kind of has a better looking back as well from what I've seen. MagSafe charger on the iPhone 12 mini, wireless charging on both, lightning ports at the bottom, IP certification on both as well. And definitely when I look at both these phones, both look very beautiful. You know, there's really not that much to hate on them. But there is kind of a big difference between these two. They're both on iOS 16 right now, but the iPhone XS has been getting iOS 16. And what's super crazy is with this specific model of phone is that it's been getting a majority of the features within iOS 16. So the future of this iPhone I still think looks pretty good. I don't think it's going to be outdated anytime soon, and I think this is still a pretty relevant phone for the most part. Now with something like the iPhone 12 mini on the other hand, and this is a device that I think is definitely going to be outlasting the iPhone 12 mini. I don't think that's a secret. I think this phone is going to outlast this one by huge margins, and again, I think that's totally expected. I think the phone like the iPhone XS though is still pretty relevant. I think it's still a really good phone, but definitely when it comes down to it, the 12 mini is the one that's going to last probably much longer than something like the iPhone XS. So in terms of that, that kind of covers it up there. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these models. The iPhone XS has at Apple a 12 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 12 mini, on the other hand, has at Apple a 14 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM as well. So let's go and see which one's the fastest one between both of these. Okay, there we go. All the apps are cut out in the background, so let's get into it. 12 mini here, XS here, both on iOS 16. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. 12 mini definitely faster. Music 3, 2, 1. And you can see the 12 mini again is the faster one, I think. News 3, 2, 1. And again, I think the 12 mini was the faster one for sure. App Store 3, 2, 1. 12 mini again, much faster there. Scrolling through here, let's see if there's a difference, and I don't think there is, but the 12 mini is definitely showing to be a much faster phone. Mail 3, 2, 1. Again, 12 mini is the faster one. Let's go into Photos 3, 2, 1. Okay, that one kind of covers up that one. Let's go and get into Camera 3, 2, 1. Kind of covers up that one as well. Let's go and get into Notes 3, 2, 1. I think the 12 mini again was the faster one. Apple TV 3, 2, 1. There we go. 12 mini got into that panel faster than the iPhone XS. Hope you got it here. We do have a lot of these, or none of these third-party applications. Shortcuts 3, 2, 1. I think that one kind of covers that one up as well. Let's go and get into Home 3, 2. Zoo Tips 3, 2, 1. Okay, that one was actually the only one faster on the iPhone XS. Very, very surprising. Files 3, 2, 1. Got into a little bit of a different pop-up there, but you know, still was going to be faster. iTunes Store 3, 2, 1. Okay, again, the iPhone 12 mini is the faster one as well. We do have some of these utility applications we can go and get into. Voice Memos 3, 2, 1. Okay, again, 12 mini is the faster one. Let's go into Measure 3, 2, 1. I think the 12 mini is slightly faster. Calculator 3, 2, 1. Okay, I think the iPhone 12 mini, I mean, the iPhone 12 mini has been consistently faster every single time. And I think that's actually something that's really, really cool. The 12 mini, with it being faster, I mean, that's something I always wanted to see with certain models of phones with certain softwares. There's been times where a software version can, for some reason speed up older phones. There's been a lot of times where the iPhone may end up, being slower when it's the newer one. So in this case, if you're spending more money on a 12 mini, you are going to be getting a faster phone, which is really, really good to see. It might sound surprising to you, but that doesn't necessarily happen every single time. So in terms of that, that kind of covers up this specific speed comparison. Now, actually hitting on the cameras, one thing that I've kind of mentioned about before is that both these models of iPhones, they have dual camera setups, which is really cool. Weirdly enough, though, they are a little bit different. So with the iPhone XS, you do have a wide and a telephoto lens, both 12 megapixel sensors. With the iPhone 12 mini, you have a wide and an ultra wide sensor. So what is the difference? Well, the iPhone XS allows you to zoom in a lot. The iPhone 12 mini allows you to zoom out a lot. So that's the biggest difference. 4K at 60 on the back as well, but the 12 mini can do 4K at 60 on the front. The iPhone XS can only do 1080p on the front. So that's kind of another big thing to keep in mind. In terms of the actual camera though, I've mentioned this for a long period of time. I think the iPhone XS has a pretty good camera. I think whatever you're going to do with it, it's going to be perfectly fine. If you want to go ahead and take, super high quality photos, well, you have that type of capability. If you want to go ahead and, utilize a telephoto lens to zoom in a lot, you have that type of capability too. And I think at the end of the day, this type of phone has a really good type of sensor. It's just missing that ultra wide sensor and 4K at 60 on the front. Those two things kind of make this phone a little bit of a different experience, I think, for a lot of people. But I think this type of camera is still pretty good, and I don't really have too many complaints about it. With something like the iPhone 12 mini, this is kind of around the same realm. I mean, this is still a really good camera, but it kind of fixes a lot of the things that I don't really, or that were kind of issues with something like the 12 mini or with the XS. So this thing, on the other hand, has an ultra wide sensor. Personally, I think that's pretty cool. Having that type of capability of zooming out a lot is really awesome. And that is something, like I mentioned before, is missing on certain devices. It's not missing on all of them, but that is something that could be missing on some. So personally, that was one thing. You still have the ability of zooming in a lot for the most part, but the quality of these lenses on the 12s were actually really, really good. Personally, when I saw these types of cameras, I thought they were really good when they first came out, and they are still very solid sensors as well. So personally, I think the iPhone 12 mini's camera is definitely the better one when it comes down to it. And I will be honest, when it comes down to both these phones as a whole and how they hold up in 2022, I kind of think that both these phones are pretty good. I don't really have too much to complain about them. I think the 12 mini is probably the better package. I mean, you're getting a phone that's going to be faster, has the same amount of RAM, but it's going to be a faster phone. It's going to last longer potentially as well. It's going to give you a little bit of a newer design. It's going to give you a better camera setup and potentially better battery life depending on which way you look at it. But the XS is a significantly cheaper phone. I wouldn't say significantly, but it is a cheaper phone, especially in the used market now, than something like the iPhone 12 mini. So it may make a little bit more sense to purchase something like an iPhone XS just because it is significantly cheaper in the used market. I mean, you can buy this thing in the used market. There's no way you can buy it brand new anymore. But I think the XS is a pretty decent value, and with all the features within iOS 16 and everything like that, basically being supported for these iPhones and above, I don't think this is a bad deal either. So that's kind of how I'd sum up this specific comparison in 2022. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.